Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee.
Right. And that's correct. And I'm working with a group of professionals. We have advocates in there, physicians, therapists, and so on. We had a meeting today. Right now, the legislators, I guess, on break, and when they come back in the fall, what we're doing is we're preparing a presentation to them on the financials of the positive financials to implement a bill. And then we're also putting together a panel of expert physicians that we're going to have go and talk to the legislators. Especially Herb Conaway is a physician as well. And we want to put together that expert panel to address any questions that come up. So in the fall, we'll be prepared to fully address any other additional questions that come up with the bill from the legislators and so on. So, but that bill does have legs. It's moving forward. It looks good. Hopefully we have a good full draft, I'm assuming, by the end of the year. And then the rest of it is where Murphy has to appoint this 19-member advisory boards and go through the Department of Health, and then all the regulations come out. So New Jersey's looking good for the psilocybin bill, as far as I see.
That appointing an advisory committee, that was part of the bill, okay?
Yeah. So part of this whole package is where Governor Murphy has to appoint a 18 or 19 member advisory board, and that board is going to go through the Department of Health, and that's going to be made up of all these experts and so on. Same thing as like the CRC, they're going to write all the guidelines and regulations and so on for the for how New Jersey is going to shape out the psilocybin service centers like Oregon.
Now, before he appoints that board, are you going to make suggestions on who should be on that board too?
Oh, I'm going to make a real good suggestion. Me. Well, yeah. Well, listen, who knows, right? But yeah, I don't know. They're appointed by the governor, just like the CRC. So we'll see. Who knows who's on their radar? But I would love to be on it. But if not, that's fine. I can always influence things or we can all influence things from the outside.
Right. Well, Jen B is with us. Thank you for coming again, Jen. How are you?
But that will be historic when that happens, because right now the only state that's really progressive is Oregon, and they're up and running now with the psilocybin centers about a year. So hopefully we'll get some data on those centers and find out, some information, and that'll be helpful in shaping what we're going to do here in Jersey. But Jersey's moving along.
Yeah. So, and but we're looking at psilocybin only with some type of licensed professional,
Right.
coordinating the dosages and the experiences with psilocybin.
Right. There'll be so you don't necessarily have to be a physician, but there is going to have to be some licensing involved and some educational qualifications, which all has to be set by this advisory board and so on. But yes, there will be psilocybin service centers where people can go, and under licensed professionals or licensed people can get the psilocybin treatments in-house, right?
Yeah. It's a shame the home cultivation part was taken out, but
yeah,
yes.
the home. Yeah, I kind of I heard rumblings about that a while ago, which I had mentioned here. And listen, everyone was up in arms when they said, "Oh, they're going to be able to grow mushrooms, but not 6 plant." And I heard rumblings it was going to come out, and it came out, just like I said. But yeah, they have something against home grow.
Yeah. Well, it's it's a tightly regulated state, so
Yeah.
they don't mind making some advances, but every advance has got to be extremely tightly regulated. So
Right.
anyway, so what we get to look forward to. Okay. Moving along, how about the Delta 8 bill? Have you, anybody been following that closely?
No, not too close. I mean, I went down there with Nichelle and we were going to testify. We signed up, but they didn't call us. I handed in written testimony. But I think that got passed. So I don't know where it goes next, but there's some controversy over that as well. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, it's going to Governor Murphy right now. It's going to his desk, as far as my understanding. I mean, the bill, have the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission essentially regulate Delta 8. And other hemp-derived products.
Right, and that was my position too, from a safety perspective and general health perspective. It should be regulated and it should be under the purview of the CRC. Those things need to be regulated. You don't need to be in gas stations. You know, if you want to protect kids and people, that's where it needs to be. And that was my position.
Right. But unfortunately, it looks like it's still going to be allowed in liquor stores. And the real question is how much is the Cannabis Regulatory Commission going to be able to regulate the sales of
I thought they could. I thought they.
I'm sorry.
What?
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you guys, but my experience has been the liquor stores are carrying Delta 9 products. I have one right here in my refrigerator. I thought about it with the Delta 8 bill. I agree with everything that's been said about Delta 8. It's just poor marketing that they did with it. But
I thought they were going to pass that without the carve out for alcohol. That's maybe I was confused.
No, that the alcohol industry prevailed. It looks like to me.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's interesting.
Scott Rutter said we're going to allow thousands of liquor stores to sell weed in their stores. And the substitute bill 3235 passed in the Senate and Assembly on June 28th at the end of the session. So basically it passed, I mean, this bill passed and it's ready to go. What's it say there, Mike?
This is live resin, Delta cannabis water. It is this one here is Maui Wowie. It's sativa. They're strain specific. And it is a 10-to-1 ratio. You got 20 milligrams of THC and 2 milligrams of CBD. Passion fruit flavored seltzer water.
How much THC?
20 milligrams.
20 milligrams?
That may be per serving because this can is 4 servings. Yeah, 4 servings in a 12 fluid ounce can.
Wow.
How much did that cost?
$8.
Wow. And so big alcohol won that one.
Yeah.
I've actually bought this a while ago before the bill was even introduced.
I was going to say, yeah, that's been available in the stores for quite a while. That's the problem that they ran into. They were selling things that should have been regulated by the CRC, and they selling them in unregulated places.
Well, they're so powerful. That doesn't surprise me. They got a lot of money, a lot of lobbyists.
Our local liquor store has a handful of different products, just like this one.
How about that?
And each with different ratios from different strains and obviously flavors. But that other companies too, not just this company here, Delta. So,
does it say what the strains are, Mike?
Yeah, Maui Wowie.
Maui Wowie.
The sativas, it says it's a sativa strain. And
how are people going to know what they're buying? There's no alcohol bud tender there. I mean, what the hell are they going to? People are just going to buy stuff like that and just.
Well, yeah, this is more recreational curiosity stuff. It's not you're gonna sit down and drink a 6-pack of these. That's
sure. But you know what you're buying. The average person, I don't think, knows what the hell they're buying.
No, I know. I went through that. They actually have a wine wine expert there in the store directing people that way. And I engaged her in the conversation, and we went on for a long time. So
Did she know?
She asked for my contact information, so she knows about the coalition now.
Huh.
And said, anybody has any questions, she has permission to call me directly. And I said, what handful?
Did she know what she was talking about?
She knew nothing about what she's talking about.
Right. But that's my point.
Stuff that, again, it was bought as, it's a product going on the shelves.
Right.
So that's when I got involved in the conversation with her. This is something that you need to look at. And we had good talk. It was very positive.
Well,
Okay.
there's still the off chance that Murphy could line item veto this bill and just take that liquor store business out.
The cannabis group.
Sorry, what was that?
Someone say something?
Could you repeat that, please?
Jen?
I don't know who it was.
Jen, you're muted. If you want to say something, just, oh, no, you're okay. Okay. All right. So anyway, I had considered getting something together to suggest that Governor Murphy to line on and veto this, since it is on his desk, and that might still be a good idea, but
Yeah.
I just don't know if I'm going to be able to get around to it with the things on my plate. So, anyway.
Call it impulse, but I'm going to give it a try.
You're going to drink some right now, Mike?
If you grow a third eye in front of us, we're going to have to rush this thing, Ken.
You start seeing mushrooms popping out of my head.
Yeah, we're going to have to call Murphy up.
Yeah.
You could text him, he has a number that you could text him.
No, this is really good.
Uh-oh.
It's a passion fruit flavor.
Passion fruit.
Yeah. I'm going to have trouble not drinking the whole can. I'm going to get all 4 servings tonight.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's 7:30 now, so
yeah, let's check it in an hour. Check him in an hour.
So I am in 90 minutes.
All right. All right. So unfortunately, Kathy Jordan died on July 4th, 2024. She was living, I met her a number of times at various conferences out on the West Coast and around. She was originally a Florida resident, and she was living with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis since 1986.
Wow. ALS. Wow.
Yeah. Typically people die of ALS within 3 to 5 years of diagnosis.
Yeah.
She just outlived everybody, and she attributed it all to medical marijuana. So she was just a great spokeswoman for medical marijuana, and she was a very nice woman.
Wow.
Very powerful woman, actually. And there's some very good videos about her and very good stories about her. So if you're not familiar with Kathy Jordan, I really suggest you look into her a little bit. She really was her story is a remarkable story of how medical marijuana can keep people alive when nothing else can.
I asked, where is she from?
She's originally from Florida.
Okay. No, I knew a Kathy Jordan that was local around here. Also.
No. It's ALS patient. I mean, when I saw her, I don't know, 10 years ago in Oregon, she's been in a wheelchair for decades too. But she stayed alive.
Did she use flour or gummies or?
I'm not really sure what she used. I'm sure she used a combination of things. But anyway, she was just a very, very strong voice for medical marijuana.
How old was she?
Let's see. She 86.
Oh, wow.
She was diagnosed in 86. I think she was around 20 when she was, so she would have been born around 76 to 76, 25, probably around over 50 years old anyway.
Just
and on a brighter note, Colleen Begley, one of our activist friends here, got a $150,000 grant from the Cannabis Seed Equity Grant for the dispensary she's opening in Atlantic City called Jupiter Lane. So Jupiter Lane is part of another company. I think it's either in Rhode Island, somewhere in New England, and she teamed up with the woman who owns that one. Teamed up with Colleen, and Colleen's looking to open up the Jupiter Lane in Atlantic City. $150,000 is probably going to help her do that. Apparently, Susanna Short really helped her. She was the cannabis industry consultant who worked with Colleen and coached her in the New Jersey Economic Development Association's technical assistance program that provided the grant. But Colleen served years in the New Jersey prisons, including Edna Mann Correctional Facility in Clinton. And I worked there for about a year as health services manager, actually, up there in Clinton. And that was a really tough place for the women. And Colleen said that she spent her time fighting not just for legalization, but to allow former felons like me to become licensed operators. So Colleen's really doing well, and she's kind of living her dream down there in Atlantic City now. So we wish you all the success in the world, Colleen. Continue.
Little girl's getting big.
What's that, Mike?
Colleen's daughter is getting big.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we've been following Colleen since before her daughter was born. And the funny thing about the daughter, she used to love to hold marijuana signs. It was just the cutest thing. She was always happy when she had a marijuana sign in her hand.
Must run in the family.
What's that, Mike?
I said it must run in the family.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you have to speak up when you're.
Sorry, I switched from that machine to a beat up old iPad now, so.
The other one had a nice picture of you, Mike.
Oh, it did? Okay,
did.
I couldn't tell.
Oh yeah, the video was nice. You had your little I love marijuana New Jersey shirt, or anyway,
My door.
hanging in the background. Moving along, the New Jersey Attorney General said that a medical marijuana patient was illegally denied a job after a drug test. So that's a bit of good news here. Apparently, this national cable installation company called Prince Telecom LLC did a drug test on this job applicant, and when it came back positive for marijuana, they refused to give him the job. So and that's a violation of New Jersey's law against discrimination, because if you're a medical marijuana patient, you have a disability. So if you have a disability, an employer has to work with you, for one thing. And also, they're not allowed to discriminate against medical marijuana patients. So that's a very interesting thing. The New Jersey Attorney General is following up on that, and hopefully other companies will learn from that experience.
I thought they'd stopped testing for it a while ago. Cannabis and pre-employment testing.
Yeah, you're very low on that, Mike. You really have to speak right into
I'm
the.
sorry. I'll switch back to the other one. I don't know. I said.
Yeah, I think it was a little better sound on the other one, Mike.
That's okay. I just made a comment. I thought they had even stopped testing in New Jersey a while ago for pre-employment cannabis. It depends on the employer and the HR people.
Apparently not.
I thought they had too, Mike. But if the company is based in a state that's not legal, I'm not sure how that works. I think there's some gray areas. But I thought I had heard what you heard, that even for police, that it had been taken out of the test.
Well, it's certainly not if if it's a like a commercial driver's license required,
right?
Or if it's some kind of federal program. I know a friend of mine is working in a federal prison in New Jersey, and he had to pass a drug test to work there, and he's a physician, so anyway, so they made him pee in a bottle.
It'd be easier for him to get a note than me.
I mean, I can't believe how lucky I was when, in the 1980s, when the New Jersey Department of Corrections started their drug testing policy. It was for inmates and it was also for corrections officers. But I was considered a civilian employee, and so I was exempt from the drug testing as a civilian employee. And I believe that's still the rule for the New Jersey Department of Corrections. Allowed me to continue working there for 22 years. I did, let's see, what was it? I had my letter, my op-ed published in the New Jersey Nurse and Institute for Nursing newsletter in June 2024, improving access to medical cannabis, where I argued that advanced practice nurses should have, not be forced to have some type of agreement with physicians in order to practice. So that would make, there's a bill right now in the legislature. The bill, it would remove the necessary, it kind of subordinates advanced practice nurses to physicians. So it would allow for them to practice independently, and I'm sure that would really open access to medical cannabis patients, and most likely reduce the fees for medical cannabis patients. For nurse practitioners would just naturally charge less than doctors in the state. So,
hey, Ken, are there any, in New Jersey, are there any caps on the fees that the supervising physician can charge the nurse practitioner? Or is it whatever they want to charge? Because I've heard some outrageous numbers on what
charge, Scott. It really,
yeah. I've heard like thousands a month some doctors are charging,
Yeah.
which is outrageous. You know? But
yes, I'm not aware of any caps on it. Some of them are pretty reasonable fees. They're not really excessive fees,
Right.
but even still, they are fees. But more importantly, if the doctor doesn't agree with what for example, medical marijuana, he's not going to let the nurse practitioner engage in that practice,
right.
That part of the practice. So that's the real issue with it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
See, as a non-health professional, to me, the idea that a physician is supervising the nurse practitioner gives me a sense of comfort, but as again, I don't really know how it all works, and that's probably just because nurse practitioners haven't been common as long as doctors have.
yeah,
But,
that's true.
Anyway,
and they're not nearly as many as there are. But people who who engage with nurse practitioners are usually more satisfied because they tend to spend more time with them. They spend to listen to them. They tend to empower patients more so than physicians do. So,
Yep.
And that's been my experience and the experience of a number of people with the nurse practitioners.
Well, nurses are more patient-centered to begin with, it seems.
Correct. Yes. So that was good news about the illegally denied that the Attorney General is I'm not sure what action is taking against that company, but it's definitely
And Ken, what's the bill, the number of that bill with the nurse practitioners that moving forward to give them permission? What's the number of that bill?
hold on a second.
If you can email it to me, that would be best.
Okay.
I want because I'll put an alert on it at the government site and follow that. Because if that's the case with that, it might be the case with psychedelics too in the future.
Yeah, and the funny thing about the bill is that it passed unanimously out of the Senate Health Committee, and it's being held up in the Assembly Health Committee because of Dr. Conaway, basically.
Yeah, he's actually he's actually, and that's the reason why it came up in our meeting today of the coalition meeting with the psychedelic bill. That's why we're putting together a panel of physicians. So we have physicians speaking to physician because he's kind of he's the one who's raising some concerns with the psychedelic bill. So there you go. And actually, I think he's going. He wants to. He's positioning for Congress, right, or something. I think.
Yes, yes, he's definitely running for Congress.
Let's run for someone, not Menendez, but Andy Kim's seat when Andy Kim gets Bob Menendez's seat.
Yeah.
Right.
I just
So-
back to real quick before you jump off. That was oh damn it! That Menendez thing just threw my head out of there. Never mind.
So he's the one also giving us some issues because he wants more of the psychedelics stuff to be under the purview of physicians. So
Right.
so he's giving everyone a run around on all these ends.
Hold on a second. I'm right here at music.
Yeah, if you could email it to me, I'll put an alert because I want to follow that one because that's a good one to follow.
Yeah, I got it right here. The bill in the New Jersey legislature is S 1983, and A 944.
Yeah, that would be a good one, Guy, for you to bring up the monetary issues, maybe for good old Dr. Conaway. I believe he has more than one job, but New Jersey, he likes his pension. It's usually something that the Republican side of the aisle, the other side of the aisle, usually responds well to positive financial stats.
Yeah.
Perhaps Dr. Conway will appreciate that. Okay.
I put it. I put it.
I'll
in
call
the
him
chat,
greedy
too.
from the side.
That's the bill in the chat too. Guy.
Oh, could you email them to me, Ken? I'm on my phone. That's why.
Oh, you're on your phone.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see what else. The appellate court denied relief for Steve Kadonsky, unfortunately. Now, Steve Kadonsky, he was sentenced to life in prison for a marijuana offense here in New Jersey. Matter of fact, he was in New Jersey State Prison when I was the supervisor of nurses at New Jersey State Prison, which, of course, at the time was New Jersey's only maximum security prison. So it used to kind of amuse me when people said nobody's in prison for marijuana. And here there was this guy right down the hall from where I worked in a maximum security prison for a marijuana offense. He finally got out a couple of years ago, but he's still under parole supervision. So, and I mean, obviously that's a very tough thing to have to live with. So he went to an appellate court to say, well, how can you continue to punish me for conduct that is now recognized as legal in New Jersey? But the appellate court said, no, it's still not legal to operate a large-scale unlicensed marijuana distribution network. So they denied his appeal, and he's still under lifetime appeal for that marijuana.
Ken, I have a question. Maybe Jared could answer it for me. So I ran into a friend yesterday who was in the military, and he got dinged while in the military for a positive drug test, and he wanted to go to med school and all this kind of stuff, and that prevented him from doing lots of things. Can you guys expunge records that were from the military or no?
The short answer is no, because cannabis is still illegal under federal law. And first of all, yeah, I mean, obviously it's still illegal, even if it's a Schedule III substance. The other part of it is that, the military, I think, as far as I remember, I do think I have to pull up the Uniform Code of Military Justice for a minute.
Okay, so
I do know, yeah.
Yeah, they can't even do CBD in the Coast Guard.
He couldn't walk into one of the expungement clinics and get his record looked at. No, right?
No, I don't even know what the procedure is for expungement of military crimes, because I don't know I don't know
Okay.
if they have a comparable procedure under, like, if he was convicted by a court martial or an administrative hearing in the military, then he's going to have to follow whatever his branch of the military, what their appeal or
Okay.
whatever their appellate procedure is. I don't
I
think
see.
that there's expungement of military offenses, but I might be wrong about that. You need to talk to somebody with experience in,
Okay.
military trial procedure. Because the Uniform Code of Military Justice is like it's a legal system in and of itself. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. Yeah.
Thanks, Jared.
Interesting.
No problem.
Yeah, just one thing about Kadonsky too. He was the one who really he started the process for rescheduling marijuana too in New Jersey. I mean, we were
Yeah,
there.
I know. I spoke to him. Yeah.
Rescheduling or descheduling?
Well, descheduling actually. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what he was arguing for. And
Yeah.
but I mean, we presented the same arguments to the Division of Consumer Affairs, Tom Calcagni, but what we didn't do after we were turned down, we were never actually really denied. They never actually denied it. We had a meeting with Calcagni up in Newark, and he was very interested. He wanted to follow up with us and all. But I mean, after he talked to his superiors, all further meetings with us were just canceled. We never got a firm denial from him about that our application to deschedule marijuana was denied.
And what year was this, Ken?
Oh, geez. It was probably right after the Compassionate Use Medical Marijuana Act passed in 2010. I would say 2010. That's when we went up to Calcagni's office and said, marijuana is effectively, I got it right here. I got it right here. I'm sorry. January 6, 2011. Dear Mr. Calcagni, New Jersey Compassionate Use Medical Marijuana Act effectively rescheduled marijuana in New Jersey. The passage of the act is inconsistent with the classification of marijuana as a Schedule I medication under the New Jersey Controlled Dangerous Substances Act. And I go on and on for, anyway. But what Kadonsky did was he started on the administrative law level and said that, and so he developed a case in the administrative law. Of course, he was turned down by the administrative law judge, but then he took that denial to the appellate court. And so anyway, he had to have the appellate court deny that. And then the appellate court dragged on and said, well, now that it's being legalized, by the time it was finally decided, it was, I don't think they ever made a final decision about it because they just did not, just let the legalization law take effect. And so anyway, but he had very strong arguments in the court. Some of our guests here, Chris Daney from Christopher's Organic Botanicals. Did you want to say anything about your organization or tell us a little bit about the company you're here for, or if there's any special thing that you want to deal with, let us know.
Introduce yourself.
And Jen B also.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I just we're a local kratom company. I grew up in Monmouth and Ocean counties. Now I live down in Salem County. We own a kratom company, GMP. We're AKA audited once a year. And we've been around since 2016. We specialize in kratom. So, and we're advocacy as well. So.
Oh, okay. So kratom. Okay, great.
Where are you selling your products?
We have an online store. We don't have any shops or any smoke shops, gas stations. I prefer to know my customers and talk to my customers personally. So we have an online store.
All right, great. Thank you. If you want to put your contact info in the chat, we'll know how to get in touch with you if anybody is interested.
What are,
sure. Yeah,
what are,
we're always fighting some kind of law or something.
Yeah.
They filed the Kratom Consumer Protection Act in 2022, and
right.
that just regulates kratom. Make sure it's being sold right, that it's real
Right.
kratom. It's not some crap mixed in with kratom, saying it's kratom. You know, like there's been so many things over the years. So we're real serious about testing and about, just doing things right. And they filed the Kratom Consumer Protection Act in 2022. And in February, some woman's son died. His name was CJ. He was in his 30s. He had kratom in his system, but he had antidepressants and all these other stuff and bad health, and he died. And they said it was because of kratom. So now they're
Wow.
trying to ban kratom in New Jersey, saying that it was because of kratom that killed him. So now we have a whole nother headache.
Who's trying to ban it, and who's giving you the headache?
It's well, the lady who filed the bill. What was his name? Representative Keene or Legislative Keene.
Oh, Dean, yeah.
So
Yeah.
he filed the bill. I don't. It's still stuck right now because we're in recess for the summer, so we're
Right.
gonna find out in the fall. But there's too many holes in the case to even say that it was kratom that killed him at all. So
Yeah.
I have a heart condition. I've had 2 heart attacks. I take kratom every day for 9 years. If there was a problem, I would have been the first guy to go. So
What are you most of your clientele are using kratom for right now?
honestly, like I don't make any health claims. I can't say, hey man, it's gonna help your pain, help your this, help your that. I can't. But that's what I use it for. I got hit by a car when I was 8 years old. So a lot of people use it just because they have pain issues, because they have stress, they have stressful life. It gives you a boost. It's related to coffee. It's just there's so many different reasons that people use it. It's pretty, everything from somebody going through opiate withdrawal. It'll help their opiate withdrawal probably in like a half an hour after they make a cup of tea. That's pretty amazing. So we have an issue that we could help with that. It also helps with people who are older, who have, issues where they're in pain. So, I mean, there's so many different things that people use it for. And we advocate for the whole kratom powder. I'm not a big extract guy. I'm really for the whole kratom powder. So, but we do sell extracts, of course, because people want them.
Very cool.
No, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was
Thanks.
being sold legally in New Jersey, actually. But if you and also if you get if you get a link to the bill, maybe we can put
Yeah.
that on our
Sure.
radar too.
Yeah, I'll leave it in the chat. I actually sent a letter to the Lakewood Scoop, and they published my letter, so I'll throw a link to both of them on there.
Are there a
great.
lot? Are there a lot of online kratom businesses or retail? Like, how is it? Are there a lot of businesses for kratom in New Jersey?
Not so many. No, not in the
Yeah.
New Jersey area.
Yeah.
But like say Florida and Texas, kratom bars are huge, kratom kava bars.
Oh, really?
And New Jersey doesn't have one. So we're kind of looking into maybe in the area having a non-alcoholic, place where people can go to hang out and relax.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been getting mine from my glass shop owner, and he's got a big display on it. I mean, it's that,
Oh yeah.
but he just reminded me, Chris, I'm almost out, so definitely get your information.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll drop the coupon codes too, of course.
Yeah, maybe you could. I don't know much about kratom. I've heard about it, but maybe you want to do a little presentation here one day.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys, whenever you have if you want to do it during your monthly meeting or you want to have another date, just get in contact with me. I'll anything I can do. We're just trying to educate people on what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested. If anyone else is, it's up to Ken, I guess.
Yeah,
I was always interested how it's biphasic. You take one dose during the day and it actually energizes you, and then at nighttime you take a little bit bigger dose and it chills out your pains.
It's great. It's such a weird. I call it such a weird herb. It really is just a weird plant.
I like to know more.
It.
I like to know more about it.
Yeah, I'll put a bunch of information in the I guess in the chat here will be the best bet.
Well, great. Thank you, Chris. Very interesting.
Yep, you got it. Thank you.
It's
No problem.
right in there with plant medicine, folks.
Yeah.
I'm a big plant medicine advocate. Psilocybin, cannabis, kratom. Yep.
Yeah,
You got it, man.
The history on how it became illegal was similar to how our drug war in the 70s happened. The government wanted to further prosecute a marginalized population in Thailand.
Yep.
by following our example with wheat, they did it
Yep.
with kratom.
And they said it was getting in the way of the opium trade was
Yeah,
why.
that was it. Yeah, because
Yep.
people were picking up kratom instead of putting down their opium pipe.
Yep.
They were getting a lot of money off of that opium.
Oh yeah, there's such a history with kratom. Is very similar to cannabis with the history. It sucks, but
Okay. Oh, that's very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you for that
Back
update.
years ago.
Yeah, I never tried it myself. But Mike, you've done it, so huh?
Yeah.
Good.
I have to share a sample with you sometime.
All right.
It helps. It helps with pain.
Yes.
But in what form can you
But
give it?
it actually goes after the same mu receptor.
Right, but in what other forms can you take kratom? Is there a troche? Is there IV? Is there like IM, or is it just powder? What is it?
there's powder. They make shots, powder. I mean, we have a tincture. We have an Ayurvedic doc that works on our tinctures, and he has
Okay.
the patent for water soluble CBD. So I think I found the right guy. So he's been doing tinctures for us, and you know, I mainly take the powder. They make tablets, capsules, you know, everything. So
Okay.
It comes in tincture. I've had tincture. I've also had it with, like I said, powder usually.
yeah, that's how I take mine, powder.
And Chris, you make your kratom, so you're GMP and you make your kratom?
Yeah, I got out of the doing it myself business back in 2016, and we found a local FDA registered co-packer in Salem County. He does all our packaging, everything.
And they're GMP certified?
Yep, Salem
Okay.
Botanicals.
Okay.
You can check them out. They have a lot of good herbs there too. He was in the, what do you call it? He was in the running to be a processor for the cannabis in New Jersey, but he didn't win.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Jen B, anything on your mind, or you have any special interests that you want to bring up to our meeting? People here?
No, thanks. Not today. You know, as you could see, I'm kind of flitting back and forth. I just have a lot of stuff to do. So today I'm just kind of listening in, and I thought I was muted earlier. Sorry about that.
Oh, all right. Not a problem.
I mean, you know, as I've said in previous meetings, home grow is my main issue. Although unfortunately I don't have a lot of time to be following the bills and everything. So
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for your interest.
I love the group. Yeah, thank you.
Good. So moving along, Trenton has proposed an ordinance that will make it unlawful for any person to smoke cannabis in or on any public place, with a fine from $250 to $500 to $1,000 for any violation. City of Trenton, unless a patient can show a medical marijuana ID card. So now, you know, this is very important because there's so many demonstrations in the city of Trenton that are about cannabis, and oftentimes, almost always, include some type of public cannabis consumption. So now, if this ordinance passes, anybody who's using cannabis publicly can be fined, pretty significant fine, $250 to $1,000. So there's going to be a city council meeting on Thursday, July 11th at 5:30 p.m. And this bill is going to be on the agenda for the city council meeting. And I'm going to show up and tell them that when the bill first came out, I told them that it was in conflict with the Jay Koenig law and that they couldn't, penalize medical cannabis patients. So for public use of cannabis, that medical cannabis patients could use their medical cannabis anywhere you could smoke a cigarette outdoors. And so they did put in that provision that exempts medical cannabis patients who show an ID card. But then I told them that, you know, then at a subsequent meeting, I told them that, well, you know, but there's an awful lot of patients who are medical cannabis patients who stopped carrying their ID card when legalization came around because they didn't want to pay a doctor for the same product that they could get just by walking into an adult use dispensary. And I also pointed out that this is going to really hurt the poor people who don't have a place to smoke cannabis. Now, I mean, I have the headquarters of CMMNJ, and I can use cannabis here all I want. And I also have a backyard, and I'm not going to get in any problem with this. But if you're in subsidized housing, or if your landlord says, no, we're going to throw you out of your house and your whole family too, if you smoke marijuana here, what's the patient going to do? They're going to have to go outside and smoke, and now they face a series of fines. So you're really going to be hurting the poor people, and Trenton has a poverty rate of 28%. So anyway, there are a number of arguments against this bill, and I hope it doesn't pass into law on Thursday. And public comment, people are invited to come out. You can speak for 3 minutes on this or any other topic. I'm inviting people to come to this city council meeting and speak out about it.
That problem is nationwide as well. People living in HUD housing.
Right.
There's no smoking at all out in here, and I'm cheating right now by vaporizing. Yeah, it's hard. Where, like I said, there was a case where there's several articles written about Washington D.C. where some cops got creative and started going around cruising the HUD housing parking lots.
Wow.
And started fining people for smoking in the thing when they weren't allowed to smoke inside the building, and say, give up my house or pay a fine. And these were patients. The majority of them were patients in D.C.
And the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development won its bid to dismiss a civil suit that was challenging the denial of Section 8 housing benefits to medical marijuana users because the drug remains illegal under federal law. So a federal court just said that, HUD can definitely throw everybody out of subsidized housing if they're using marijuana inside that house. Not only that, but the entire family too gets thrown out. So now you've got homeless people. So
the only way you get clearance is if you have a medical cannabis medical card?
No, depends on. First of all, in New Jersey, in Trenton, if this is a Trenton law that I'm talking about right now, there's a Trenton ordinance, but the denial of the fact that HUD doesn't allow marijuana smoking, that's across the entire country.
Right.
Yeah.
The public use, New Jersey also has a public use. I think it's a part of CREMA, or not allowed to smoke in public anywhere. I mean, patients do have that caveat with your card, be able to smoke in a place where people also smoke tobacco.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to smoke in any parks or anywhere in public in Jersey, in the state. And that's pretty much cross country too, from what I've seen.
So CREMA says you cannot smoke, you can't smoke in public. In public,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's I mean, I see trends trying to model it. I think, was it someone wrote an article about modeling, or they were making a comparison with public alcohol consumption.
Right.
And so it's with with a 40, I can put a paper bag over it.
Who wrote the article, Mike? I didn't see that. What article?
No, I read it. I thought you were involved when I saw it. I saw Trenton, and I thought, because you had this conversation last month.
Oh.
So I just skimmed it really quickly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I thought there was another article. Maybe I had already seen that. Okay.
Okay. I mean, but if you're truly using it as medicine and you need it as medicine, and people take heart medicine in public, but wouldn't you want to take that in the privacy or in your home? I mean, especially if you, I don't know if there's a need to take medicine out in the middle of a park. I'm not following that so much, but
well, what if you got somebody in your home on oxygen, and I mean, what if you got small children in your house? You don't want to smoke in your house and smoke them up.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just trying to see both sides here. I'm trying to understand.
My go-to is my car, I can sit in my car just as long as the keys are not in the ignition,
Right,
Yeah,
not operational. I'm not driving.
right.
yeah,
That's my
I'm-
that's my property. To get back to the other thing too, we also have other options besides smoking.
right, right.
You know, so and that's
Mhm.
important for us to get that education out to patients.
Yeah,
Right.
that is
Not
important.
all just about 710 or flour.
That's
Yeah.
tomorrow. Yeah,
Yeah,
like sometimes if I'm going to be out of the house for 8, 10 hours, you know, a long day or something, uh, I'll try and have some edibles. But when sometimes you have breakthrough pain, breakthrough symptoms, and nothing addresses that better than, you know,
I see.
smoking or
Right.
dryer vaping or concentrate. And one
Yeah.
thing I liked was that supposedly they aren't supposed to use the smell of cannabis, either fresh or burnt, as justification for a search or anything like that. But now with these laws about public consumption, that's out the window unless you're in your car. But medical patients, there has to be some kind of exemption.
Yeah,
Maybe we
there
should wear
should be.
little pot leaves on our shirts.
That would be a good point to bring up at Trenton though. Thursday, huh? What time is that hearing?
Thursday, 5:30 p.m. It starts in City Hall.
That's right, municipal, good old municipal court for
Yeah, second floor.
All right, I'm just checking my schedule.
Okay. All right.
Hey,
Moving
but I do
along.
have that evening open. Yeah,
What's
because the idea of I said the trick with keeping your keys out of the ignition. I don't know if that's something that Trenton would observe or not. So,
Yeah,
not-
Yeah.
yeah, but what if you have one of the modern cars where you have a key fob and you just press the button to start it?
true.
Took
I,
the words
I
out of my
don't know.
mouth.
It's technology. Also, right now you have weather over 105-degree heat thing. You can't
Yeah.
see without the air on.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's just like it has been for uh, the whole time. Be cool, man. Just keep it cool.
All right. Of course, you still have the normal action alert, but probably everybody here has sent that in already. And we're still looking for people for CMMNJ's tech team to help. I put Nick's contact information to text him if you have someone who can help with some of our well, putting our website back together basically is it's been down for months right now, so that's kind of embarrassing. But our blog spot is still open, so that but apparently I think what they're thinking about doing is converting a lot of what's on the blog spot to this CMMNJ website. But we really need a website, you know. I mean, we've had one for years, and it just now we don't. So the Cannabis Regulatory Commission, the next meeting is July 18th, but they invited a number of us to testify at the June 17th meeting, and I was invited to testify, and so I made several recommendations to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission, including allowing anyone with prescriptive privileges to recommend cannabis for any condition, making healthcare facilities allow the use of medical cannabis by patients and institutionalized patients, and also to require education on the endocannabinoid system for healthcare professionals as a condition for continued licensure in the state of New Jersey. And Guy also was invited to testify at that hearing. So, Guy, you testified on the research, right?
Yes, I testified pro research, exactly. Right.
Of course, now I testified on research, but I made up my own research. You know,
That's right.
well,
It's okay.
well, my idea was to put in a you know, some type of questionnaire about how patients are doing on the medical cannabis. We're giving medical
Right.
cannabis to tens of thousands of patients every month, and nobody's saying, how you doing on this stuff? You know, I mean, there should be some type of research or follow-up about this. You know, are people having bad experiences, you know, or what percentage of people are having bad experiences, you know? Anyway, we'll see what they do.
Just read an
Yeah,
article about that. There's a report about adverse experiences. And
yeah, it still should be captured in a
it was with
centralized.
New Jersey too, and I was surprised how many people just, as soon as cannabis was going, it went immediately to an adverse situation.
Well, you know, I saw that one that the research that was published on Jehan Marcoux with Jehan Marcoux that looked for adverse reaction to cannabis. And you know, that whole study seemed to really focus on adverse, you know, effects, and almost, you know, was only talked about people who had adverse effects. So, you know, I wondered how valid that study was, because, you know, you're not dealing with the entire population of people who use cannabis. You know, and when you talk about the entire population, you know, what percentage are having bad experiences? It's got to be like, you know, 2%, 5%. You know, 95% of the people are not having bad experiences. So, but that particular study, if you looked at it, you would think, my God, everybody's having bad experiences. So
There's
Yeah,
there's a lot of from the stigmatized treatment that's gotten so many years. There's times you just mention weed or cannabis, they check off a box. That's all. Cannabis use disorder.
right, right,
So that happens a lot. I mean, I've had where I needed to be to have a ambulance come and pick me up in my apartment, get to the ERs in so much pain one night. And of course, the ambulance driver just has to be all, you know, putting her 2 cents in. She says, "Oh, I see you have, I got my cannabis flag up. You know how I decorate my apartment. Oh, so you see you're into cannabis." And yes, I am. And you're nauseous and you're in a lot of pain, huh? So you don't have, she was going for the hypermesis diagnosis all by herself. And I was like, "No, I already know the diagnosis of this. Please, I need to get to the hospital." And she picked it up. She dropped it right away. But
good.
yeah, those data need to be captured in a centralized database. But one of my main things to the CRC was that when they do take this on, they need to establish a separate equal chair for research. You know, someone who has research experience. That was my main message. That it's very complex and it needs to be done at the highest level. So they need to establish another chair level position, like Diana's position, for a whole research division. That was my main one of my main messages.
Right. But, you
back
know,
up,
are you looking to reproduce clinical trials in that guy?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. We should be competing with Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has a bunch of research facilities where they do clinical trials. But absolutely, yeah, we want to do clinical trials with patients, and we could do other studies too with universities. We could do social equity study. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do under the guise of research, right?
Mhm.
But my point is there needs to be someone who's a figurehead, who has cannabis clinical research experience at the chair level in the CRC to make sure that that runs all right, because we want to do it right. That was my main message. But yes, with cannabis with patients and cannabis, you could do a survey study, whatever. It doesn't matter. Research is research.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Jen
go
just,
back to where you're at before, Ken, about when we run into articles that seem to be skewed one way or another. I go back from my old writing professor and I look at the authors, and I've looked at what other articles they've been involved with, what other studies they've been involved with, and sometimes you find out that that particular person just likes the stigmatized view of cannabis, and they tend to be more of an anti-cannabis expert.
Mhm.
And you'll see that with pro people too. We naturally try to cherry pick sometimes. It's that bias that everyone has. But it's important to double check our studies that
Mhm.
we're going to use to quote.
Also, the size of the, like you say, looking into the study, Mike, the size of the sample often is small, and yet there are sensationalistic headline results. I don't know if there's been research that backs this up, but I've always suspected that just like with alcohol and certain other things, that different people react to cannabis differently. And also, as an example, I don't like to smoke cannabis occasionally. I can't handle it. I need to have a healthy tolerance before I can incorporate it into my daily life. And so, depending on how regularly the people in the study consume it, could have a big impact on how it affects.
Yeah, that's some of the difficulties they have in studying the breathalyzers or looking at for intoxication.
And also, they say it's almost impossible to have a double-blind study with cannabis because the people who have the placebo, as opposed to the active drug, are going to know. But
I don't know. Guys are a research guy. What do you say that?
yeah.
Well, they've done some very excellent double-blind placebo-controlled clinical trials in California anyway.
Okay.
On cannabis and pain control.
Oh, there's been thousands and thousands of studies done.
But the double-blind placebo-controlled are different. They're a lot harder to do. There are a lot of observational studies. They're not the kind of studies that lead to FDA approval of cannabis. So anyway.
And there you go. The reason why we need to have clinical research to we can move this question forward, right? We'll see we'll see what happens with the clinical registry and application license that's being worked on now too by the CRC. They're gonna be rolling out those guidelines too, or developing them further, because I think they already rolled out initial.
Yeah, I mean they allowed for clinical registrants some time ago, but that program hasn't started at all yet. Then, right?
No, not at all. They're working on it. I've gotten some calls on it. They're working on it. Yeah.
Okay. It could be resistance from some of the universities. I mean, they're supposed to be hooking up with the university, and maybe universities don't want to get involved in it.
No, I don't know. Well, they're like I said, they're working on the guidelines now. So, and they're pretty complex. So I get it's going to take a while before they work on them. I don't even think there's any universities, unless they might be talking to some. I don't know who they're talking to actually, but they're working on actively working on the guidelines now. Well, I mean, this will give the universities permission to do the research. So I don't know.
The problem is that the universities get federal funds, and they're afraid that these federal funds are going to be in jeopardy if they start dealing with they start growing real cannabis instead of just hemp. I mean, a number of colleges in universities in New Jersey are already growing hemp and studying that, but growing marijuana is a different animal.
Biden administration did expand that out to other sources besides just University of Mississippi.
Right.
So
right,
but I don't have that list memorized.
Yeah, but none of those have any of those other sources actually started growing it. I mean, as far as I know, they were allowed to grow it, or but has anybody actually started doing it? I don't know that, Mike. Has anybody, is anybody else growing federally approved marijuana? I mean, California has its own cannabis regulatory commission, and they grow marijuana, and they require that the marijuana that is used in clinical trials be approved by them, but that's not on a federal level.
No, you're right.
Anyway,
On a federal level, would you like to transition over to deschedule conversation?
sure. Uh,
Thank you.
yes, Mike wrote a very nice comment to the DEA. Mike, you want to talk about that?
Well, yeah. I mean, if we're looking to make a real ethical choice, especially for access for patients, for research, not just even economically. To declassify is the only choice that is pragmatic here. Switching to Schedule 3 will not make it legal anywhere. People will still be being arrested for it. Immigrants will still be deported. And much of the ills that we have now will still be around. What would happen was I'm trying to generalize a lot of this right now, is yeah, it would be open the doors for some, for big pharma and big tobacco.
Yep.
To step right in. And with that, you're looking at nothing that's going to be made available to patients for a long time, because when you get big pharma involved, they need the FDA involved. And when the FDA gets involved, yeah, you're going to be talking about studies of how do we get a cannabis plant to be stable
and patentable.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, my understanding is you can patent a plant. I mean, I had this argument with one of the New Jersey legislators some time ago. Told him how it was impossible to patent a plant, and he said, "No, I'm a patent lawyer, and I can. It is possible to patent plants."
Yeah, but I don't think the Pfizers of the world are going to go after patenting a plant. They're going to go after patenting a molecule or a
Right.
derivative.
Right.
Yeah.
But my point is that
they're
that process will take years.
They're experts at doing that. So trust
Yeah.
me, they will do it, and they will do it multiple times over and over. I'm telling you.
And they'll be able to do it multiple times over and over with cannabis being descheduled.
Yep.
Or Schedule 3. Either one. They're gonna win.
Schedule 3 is wrong. Schedule 3 will. That's the reschedule that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's just a red herring to gather more votes, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. The actual facts of it, it's not going to move anything except, yes, some of your research will be able to be open for it. What businesses that can survive in the industry would be able to use their 280E deduction.
Right.
Right.
But that's it. Your mom and pop, your social equity, your expungements.
It's all gone.
It's all going right down the garbage disposal.
I'm not arguing.
The whole industry as it exists now will be trashed, and the people that'll pick it up will be, big pharma to scoop in and get some profits, and big tobacco because they're already set up to grow.
Unless, I made this argument too, unless there's 2 lanes, unless there's 2 lanes created, right? The big pharma, because the big pharma is going to cut out their lane. They got too much money, too much power, too much lobbying power. So don't even think about not talking. They're going to cut out their lane. And if they leave the other lane alone, maybe we could carve out our lane. And yes, I'm not arguing. Descheduling is definitely, I'm for that. But listen, we're not going to fight City Hall. Big Pharma.
Yeah, we are. We are fighting City Hall, though, because of the public comment period. Let me finish.
Wait.
I'm interrupting you. I'm sorry. I jumped in. I'm excited here.
That's all right. Say what you want to say. It's okay.
No, finish what you were saying. I apologize.
No, I still think there's a way for both lanes to exist. The big pharma lane, and because it's going to happen. It's not going to be stopped. So there's the big pharma lane, and we can have our lane too. And then ultimately,
agree. And that lane, that is called deschedule cannabis. Take it off the CSA completely, just like tobacco and just like alcohol.
I like to see everything descheduled, but you know what, Mike?
Their lane's wide open. They're able to profit off it as much as they want then, and we don't have to worry about Social equity problems being taken out. We don't have to worry about arrests still being, or people still being kept in prison.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just
Schedule
saying
3 will not do any of that.
but the reality of what's probably going to happen is Schedule 3 because of the power of the and the lobbying. So
You know how they're having the public commentaries open until July 22nd.
22nd, right?
Less than 2 weeks. And from what I saw today from the drug policy thing I posted around the place, so far of the public comments, 68% are supporting descheduling.
Okay,
So if they're
that's
going to
good.
follow, I mean, the Biden administration's the one, the Congress is the one that deals with legalization. But to deal with rescheduling, to go to Schedule 3 would just be a pit, and I don't see how patients would get any relief from that for several years.
I mean, that's good. That's a great.
At least you have some options to be able to get to it.
Yeah, I mean that's a great powerful number, 68%. So that's good. Maybe it'll get higher, and maybe
read my state comment I put in there. I tried to address everything there.
You have to email. I can't. You have to email it to me. I can't. I'm on my phone.
Okay.
It's on the Friends of
it's on the website. It's
right. It's all over Mike's comment.
Yeah, CMMNJ.
Yeah, I haven't submitted my comment yet. So
I haven't done mine yet either. I'm collecting a lot of information and thoughts and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I haven't done mine either. Ken.
I just put up some research for you. Go ahead and check it out. It's not that long. I do try to keep it as short as I can.
Yeah, next week. But I mean, it's also possible that nothing's going to happen. Smart approaches to marijuana wants the DEA to extend the current public comment period.
Oh, that's interesting.
And
because they're losing.
It would be a significant reversal of nearly a dozen prior agency decisions, rejecting proposals to move marijuana out of Schedule 1. DEA is going to have to admit that they were lying for 52 years.
They had the wrong research.
And that the FBN was lying before that.
The paper, the research that came in that said it was okay back in 72, 70, that got lost.
They buried the study. They decided not to use it.
Yeah, they ignored the study. Yeah,
they cherry picked the science. They rely on science, and then but it's only the science that agrees with their preconceived notion.
Exactly. There are people who feel that the Schedule 3 is, well, that's progress. That's that's better than nothing, and then we'll get total descheduling down the road. And in my mind, that's going to go just the way that homegrown New Jersey has gone.
Yeah, but homegrown New Jersey
still won't have changed.
Well, but homegrown New Jersey is screwed up because of one or two people. It's not because of any science or anything.
No, I know. There are those who think that it has to do with Big Pharma's influence in the state too, but
we'll read that when it comes out in the book.
Right.
You have 2 weeks to make comments to support descheduling cannabis, and read my notes, please. Any discussion, I'm totally open for that. Matter of fact, tomorrow there will be a webinar. I think drug policy DPP is putting on. Matter of fact, I did post it up earlier. Let's see if I can put it in the chat.
Tomorrow or the 11th?
On that rescheduling is simply not enough.
Is that tomorrow or the 11th?
Tomorrow is the 11th. Oh no, I'm sorry.
Tomorrow's the 10th.
No, it's not.
Tomorrow's Oil Day. Concentrate.
Wednesday. I had a bunch of other stuff up on my calendar. Go ahead and, if it's the 11th,
I thought it was the 11th. I'm not. There's so many things going on. I'm not sure. Is that with Joe Shapiro, Lisa Gora, or I can't remember?
Hey. There she is.
Well, that's good that 68% are calling for descheduling. That's good.
Yeah. If it's just, again, looking at the benefits where, I mean, going back to Biden's quotes that no one should be in jail for marijuana. Well, Schedule 3 is going to do nothing about decriminalization.
Right.
Right.
That's true. Right.
Right.
So the, you know, I don't know how to do stuff to post
You
on.
get you go to jail for illegal without a prescription possession of Xanax or something like that. That's a Schedule 3, right?
Yeah.
Or Tylenol, codeine, anything like that.
Yeah, I
You get
believe
arrested for
so.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
This other Schedule 3 medication. Matter of fact, I just met a doctor a few weeks ago who that's his specialty is ketamine treatments for depression and for chronic pain. So we got talking. I introduced myself. Obviously, he got a card at the coalition. You even invite him here for Tuesday night. But
Oh, is he coming? I'd like to.
yeah, well, he's doing, typical vacation for the month of July. Yeah, I said, well, then we'll get together in August and we'll talk then.
Is he practiced in New Jersey?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'd like to talk to him because I'm actually talking to a few physicians in New York that they want to work with me to open up a ketamine clinic here in New Jersey. And
Really?
so that's,
There's,
yeah. They're very, very
a few of
serious.
them
They're
right
gonna
around my
open up-
house here in Morristown.
Say it again?
There's a few of them here in Morristown, Cherry Hill, Medford.
Yeah, well,
This doctor
well,
I was talking to, his office is in Medford.
Well, whoever you know, I like to talk to them because these doctors, one's a family practitioner, one's an addiction doctor, one's a general practitioner. They want to set up a ketamine clinic and start off with pain, so ketamine for pain, and they want me to consult with them and be partners or something. So I got to figure this out. But I like to talk to as many ketamine.
Very
I know,
interested personally in that. That's why I'm pursuing this.
right? I understand.
Topical ketamine for a while in the past, but then things changed. Now I'm thinking that might be a better avenue to go back to.
What's the
Yeah.
situation with insurance and ketamine?
So the only ketamine that I know that's covered primarily by full insurance is the Spravato, which is the nasal.
Right, the nasal
kind.
spray.
Right. The
and-
other,
Go ahead.
the other ketamine are out of pocket, and there's IM ketamine, there's IV, and there I know one big practice out in California, they do IV. He's an anesthesiologist. Another guy I know in Florida does ketamine. He swears by IM. They're both very successful. They do very well. And I'm trying to advise these guys what's the best. We might do both. We might start off with an IV infusion, and then once person's regulated, then go to IM. So we're figuring all that out, but we're going to be concentrating. It's going to be a regular medical practice. They're going to see patients, but we're going to have the alternative medicine side of it with the ketamine and eventually the psilocybin and MDMA if it gets approved or whatever. But the ketamine, they want to start off with pain first because that's kind of the easiest thing to work with in a sense. And then we'll get into the ketamine assisted therapy for depression, anxiety, and all that stuff. But
what's the place of a clinician with that for pain as opposed to therapy for depression? Do you sit with a clinician for the whole thing, or?
Now, there's two different ways of going about this. Because not all of it is ketamine.
I mean, I usually just put it in the microwave, dry it, and store it.
I'm sorry,
wait,
it doesn't
I can't
always
hear.
link up with a psychologist for integration work afterwards.
Right.
I met this doctor through one of his patients who goes in, I think like he was going in every other day for a few weeks for long-term depression. And his was an IV. Matter of fact, if my interview with him went well enough, sometime in the next week to 10 days, I may have some Spravato in the mail.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And so they're mailing you the Spravato, and then what are you doing? The treatment
Yeah,
at
but
home?
when I talked with, matter of fact, a while ago, I had a conversation with Jahan about it, Dr. Marcoux, and he was saying that,
Yeah.
get back to Scott real quick. The insurance, chronic pain was about the only thing that it's covered for with insurance.
Right.
I'll
Right.
let you know how I make out with that when I pursue it.
Yeah.
In this case,
With
yeah,
the Spravato, not the IM
Yeah.
or IV.
right. With the Spravato,
Yeah.
think bedtime and set the alarm in the morning for 2 hours before you normally wake up. Medicate, go back and dream. When you go to bed at night, medicate, lie
So
down.
so
dream.
so this is the pain protocol.
That's the Spravato protocol.
Right, but for pain.
You know, pain, from what I heard, pain is usually treated with IV and at much higher doses, and therefore more expensive as well. But I will
And-
find out about it because that, unfortunately, I got to wait for July's vacation to be done.
Okay, that'd be interesting. Yeah, I'd like to talk to a few. I mean, I have a couple of guys that own clinics. One does, like I said, in California does the IV. One in Florida does IM. I'm gonna be talking to them and getting some information. But I like to talk to some New Jersey doctors that do it as well. These guys want to open up this clinic before the end of this year, so I got to see what's going on with it.
Yeah, well, half the year's gone, buddy. Good
Yeah.
luck.
Well,
Well-
yeah, I know. Well, listen, if they're gonna put up the money, then they can open it up.
What
Yeah,
kind of a
because the
dosage are they
advertisements
using
popping
for
up
that?
everywhere. I'm
I
sorry.
didn't
Scott.
hear any of you guys. You're talking over each other.
Yeah, no, sorry. What, Scott?
I can't see my raised hand thing on my phone. What kind of a dosage are they using for the pain? These types of things. How many milligrams?
I don't
I
know.
do not. I don't know either.
I'm just curious. Yeah.
And no, I don't. And those are some of the things that when I speak to the guys that I know that own the clinics, I'm going to find out because there's different protocols for pain, and then there's different dosing protocols for when you're doing it for depression. So I'm going to figure all that out and
Right.
get that information for them.
Right.
And then the guys with the IVs, I have the guy down in Florida who does the IM injections only, and he has amazing success with it, and he swears by it. The guys with the IVs are usually the anesthesiologists that own those clinics, and there's pros and cons to both of them. One, with the IV, you can start it and then you could stop it if there's an issue, an adverse event or something. So it's more regulated. The IM, once it's in you, So there's different. We got to figure all that out. Now, the one I know another guy that has a protocol where they start the patient on IV, and if it's well tolerated, then they can go to the IM for pain. So we got to figure all this out for the clinic.
It's, from what
I'm
I've
sorry?
seen, patients that I've talked to.
I hear
say
some.
pretty much
Yeah, but I can't, Mike. I can't hear you because there's something else.
On the floor.
Someone-
and pre-roll and smoke one.
got some background noise going. Sorry about that, Guy. What was that?
No, you were saying something. I was trying to listen to your question.
Oh, I've talked with a few patients who are trying to find, and that's how I got introduced to this one doctor.
Mm.
But one guy was just trying to describe it. Goes, you kind of tell when they using a regular infusion thing on the IV, and goes, when your hour's up, the timer stops. All of a sudden, once the IV stops, you're wide awake. It's there's no hangover type of effect.
Mm.
I know. I stopped by to give him rides afterwards for a while, and that's where we had conversations about his experience and what was going on. I never got involved in the discussion about what dosages or titrations. I'm more concerned about results, and his results got me interested enough to investigate this.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've spoken to a lot of patients that have received ketamine for depression and for pain and stuff, and it's very successful from what I understand, what they're telling me. So we just got to figure out I need to figure out what direction these guys want to go in with this wellness center, and then once I figure that out, we'll figure out all the dosing and then a standard protocol or whatever. Yeah.
Okay,
Give me a call,
okay.
we'll make an appointment.
What area are you looking to do this in?
Well, that's a good question because actually I have another partner who's scouting out a few medical buildings in okay, so the thing in very wealthy areas, to be honest with you, because in Warren Township, Warren County, because
okay.
a lot of this is going to be out of pocket and it's very, very expensive.
Make sure you have clients that can afford it.
Yeah, well, that's why
Yeah.
we're looking in Short Hills in Warren County. Warren's very, very exclusive. So yeah, you have to because you have to draw those clientele for that part of the clinic, the wellness center. Yeah, because that's all out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's going all the way back. That is one thing where the psilocybin bill could probably be beneficial. Having the state actually moving that direction, just like cannabis, can make it more available for insurance companies first to see the results,
Right.
and then gauge how much money they'd actually be saving by
Right.
utilizing this therapy.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. And I'm talking to a healthcare lawyer as well to set us up so that where and when we set up the center and how we set it up, that we can position ourselves to also be a psilocybin service center in the future as well. So I'm figuring all that out for them.
All right. Well, good luck with all that, guy.
Yeah, thanks.
Let me know if I can help.
Yeah, I will. No, well, definitely because I want to speak to any of those ketamine doctors for sure.
Okay, good. One thing I forgot to mention, as a result of that, the CRC testimony that we provided, Senator Singleton introduced a bill, S-3484, which provides healthcare practitioners discretion to determine which medical conditions could qualify patients for the use of medical cannabis. So basically, that would be exactly what we were asking for, to let anything qualify for medical cannabis that a prescriber feels could help a patient. Any more on federal?
Can I get that? I'm sorry, I'm on my phone. Can I get that? Can you email that bill to me too? I need to follow that one as well.
You don't get the agendas at all, Guy?
The CMMNJ newsletter.
It's on the agendas for
okay.
It's in the newsletter. So is my letter we talked about earlier.
Good.
It's all in there.
And self-reported daily or near daily cannabis reuse rose from about 1 million people in 1992 to 17.7 million people 30 years later. So a 15-fold increase in the per capita use rate. High-frequency cannabis use is now more commonly reported than high-frequency drinking alcohol in the United States. So I think we're making real progress there.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. More than half the country has access to it now.
Upcoming events, New Jersey. The Cannabis Patient Awareness Day is Wednesday, 7/10, which is tomorrow. And it was originally going to start at the State House at 11:11, but now I see it's starting at the State House at 10 o'clock. So, Third National Patient Awareness Day. Lefty Sativa Cross. What are you saying, Mike?
I'm sorry, no Hub 13 this tomorrow.
No. The after party is going to be at the Mad Hatter in what is it, near Woodbridge on Route 1, I believe. But that's going to be at I'm not sure. You have to check the Sativa Cross website there for the Third National Patient Awareness Day. I don't have all the details, but there's going to be a demonstration at the State House, New Jersey, tomorrow starting at 10 o'clock, and the after party from 2 to 7 at the Mad Hatter. Let's see what else is coming up. Oh, SureGrow is planning another Patient Aid Day, August 11th. That's a Sunday from noon to 4 p.m. in Oakhurst, New Jersey. That's a fundraiser for patients, and it helps to get aid access to patients who can't afford their medical cannabis in some way. And they also have a 2024 class schedule at Shore Grove. Minorities for Medical Marijuana, they have a number of upcoming events. And anything special going on there, Guy, that you want to talk about? Minorities for Medical Marijuana?
Not that I know of. I haven't looked at the agenda.
Okay, all right, that's all right.
Yeah.
Any can, we're starting to plan for Northeast Cannabis, the New Jersey Cannabis Convention in the Atlantic City Cannabis Convention Center. Mike's going to be in charge of that. He's already got 2 rooms down there in Atlantic City already, and we got a free table at any can.
We got 2 trustees committed to being there, and we each got a room set up. It's the same rooms, our same place we had last year. Same. We need to really thank Felicia's sister for this, and thank Felicia for this, making this available. Timeshares that are family owned in Atlantic City.
So what are these timeshares like? Tell me about them. Were you there?
It's a suite. So you got a king size bed, bedroom, private bath in the bedroom. Walk out, you have a living room with the sleeper sofa, queen size sleeper sofa, or nice TV, kitchen area, table.
What's the date on that event? What's the date?
That is September 6th and 7th.
6th and 7th, okay.
2024, yeah.
All right, great.
So yeah, if anybody, please, we'll definitely need help tabling there. And I still need help with submitting my speaker application. So should be doing that now. So
all right, you're going to be applied to be a speaker also then, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, great, good.
Although right now,
so you're going and Felicia's going. You and Felicia are going to be manning the table, or responsible for the table down there.
Yeah, I know. I expect Jeff and Michelle to be down there, but they've been down there for years as well. They're busy with their own table.
Yeah, they've got their own table. Yeah. Okay.
All
right, great.
I think M4MM might have a table too. I have to find out.
Okay.
All right.
You can come down and sit at our table,
Well, let me. I got to.
You always use a volunteer.
I got to see what M4M's. I'm spread through M4MM. I'm on also Michelle's kind of coverage board. So I got a few things. I got to find out what I'm going to do.
All right.
Just busting on you.
And let's see. Finally, we're also invited to the Happy Wellness Expo at Fairleigh Dickinson University in Madison, New Jersey, on September 8th from 10 to 5. And CMMNJ will have a table there. It's more like a holistic conference. We went to the last one. Were you there at the last one, Mike? The Happy Wellness?
No, Happy Wellness. What month was it?
Oh, I don't remember. It was a while ago.
I don't remember it.
Okay. Anyway,
Unless your mouth was that good.
I might have been there by myself. I'm not sure. But anyway, they canceled the speakers. It was the day there was a terrible rainstorm. I remember driving up there to North Jersey, and it was just horrible. I couldn't even see where I was going on the Garden State Parkway. The rain was so bad. But anyway, so that affected the attendance and some of the events that they were having. But hopefully it'll be a better day in September for the next one at the Happy Wellness Expo. A lot of holistic practitioners there, chiropractors doing different things, and all kinds of different holistic approaches to
definitely be interested.
Anyway, so definitely worth a look. I see they're evaluating CBD as an alternative analgesic for acute dental pain.
Huh. Wow.
Okay.
Interesting.
But we do have our QR code to scan for contributions, tax deductible contributions to our 501c3 nonprofit educational organization.
All right.
Able to do that, take advantage of that. Let me know if it works. All right.
Get that printed up and put it on the table.
It's on the agenda, and it's on the agenda, right?
Okay. Oh, no, wait.
I can,
Hmm.
yeah. Anyway, so that's all the agenda items I have, unless anyone else has anything else. Yes, Mike?
Anybody have anything about the Chevron case?
About what?
Never mind. SCOTUS,
I could comment, but it's not appropriate.
well, reversing the Chevron case could definitely
Chevron deference,
throw a
yeah.
wrench
Yeah,
in
the
everybody's
right.
rescheduling.
So they don't have to rely on experts.
Well, the
You know,
Supreme Court upheld it in the 80s when they were
What?
deregulating, but
Yeah.
now,
But
anyway.
now, so now what
Why
teeth
do you
would
need
the
experts?
DEA have?
Yeah, it gives more power to what, Congress, not to rely on experts? What a bunch of
no,
idiots.
not even,
It
not
means
even.
the judiciary. It puts the power right in the
Oh,
hands of the
right.
judiciary.
Yeah,
Yeah, here's what really kills me about the final undoing of Chevron deference, and I know that it's a rule that's had different types of applications in different cases, and honestly, the federal judiciary hasn't always applied it in a very rigorous way. I can understand, yeah, there are sometimes difficulties applying certain tests, but you know what? When you actually look at the standard that Chevron set was in a nutshell, if this particular agency action is explicitly committed to this agency by the express language of the statute, then the court has to stand back and let the agency do its job. If that is not the case, if the statute is ambiguous on what is required or permitted of the agency, then the courts can look deeper into legislative history and prior acts of all that stuff,
and make a decision.
Doesn't that lead
Yeah,
it back
exactly.
towards the
But
agency again?
But the bigger
Yeah.
the bigger point and the sadder point is that SCOTUS is overturning major precedents
Okay.
that been around for the last with
All
Dobbs and right. I mean that's the issue.
Well, there's two problems here, as I see it. With regards to Chevron itself, I think that Chief Justice Roberts took what I felt was the Chevron test. I felt was a very commonsensical, even-handed test. I thought it was fair to both, to both parties of the case, and it was fair to both the executive and judiciary alike.
Right.
Now he's removed that, and in its place, he has substituted, in his own words, the independent judgment of the courts.
Right.
So, as you said, yes, it does put more power in the hands of the judiciary, but you've also taken a relatively commonsensical standard and replaced it with a mushier one,
right,
a much more subjective one. And I can tell you, I can see that, I can tell you in family law, usually when that happens, it's a bad thing, and it becomes a tougher law to apply. It becomes a tougher, for both sides of the case to make a case and to present why they think it should be interpreted this way or whatever. The other side of it is what Gaetano said. This Supreme Court has decided that stare decisis doesn't really mean anything anymore, and that they're just going to take a lit match to 50 years worth of jurisprudence.
right.
They are playing Russian roulette both with our human rights and with the economic stability of this country.
Exactly.
That's why they got hired. Okay.
And that is not even. What amazes me is that even if you were like a pre-Reaganite conservative would look at something like this and think, "My God, what
the hell
are they doing?" Like, do you think? I don't think even Richard Nixon would have accepted this kind of conduct out of the Supreme Court.
No.
He'd hit the ceiling if they pulled shit like this on his watch.
I was worried about this happening. That's why I kind of stumbled when I mentioned Chevron in the very beginning. Obviously, I was referring to how you feel that would approach cannabis, and with rescheduling coming up, That's something that's going to definitely
Bring
go
it back to making.
direction. Okay, because that's
Yeah.
it's kind of what I was
Okay.
telling you, especially as looking at you too. It's like, there you go. Here's a nice golden platter for you.
Yeah, well, let me just look into my gaze into my crystal ball here. I'll tell you the freaking future.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how deep this rabbit hole is going to go. I mean, for all I know, look, if they can overturn Roe versus Wade, if they can overturn Chevron versus Natural Resources Defense Council,
They could do anything they want,
they
right?
could do whatever they want. They could overturn Miranda versus Arizona. They don't have to read you your rights when you get arrested. They could overturn Terry versus Ohio. They don't need reasonable suspicion to stop you in the fucking street.
They can
I'm telling
overturn
you,
gay marriage. They can overdo whatever they want. This is
they
crazy.
can undo. They've decided that they can take a sword to whatever Gordian knot they like, consequently damned, and we all got to just live with that now. So I don't know. I mean, apparently the president's a king now. So this July 4th, we became kingdom again.
I'm grabbing the nearest thing I have right now to a gavel. I bring a point of order here, please. Today was a CMMNJ meeting. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
you started
there, but I appreciate your knowledge with it. Where are we as far as the agenda, Ken?
We're done.
We're done.
He said that 10 minutes ago.
That's why we're on this tangent.
That's right.
Well, I know.
We're freestyling. We're freestyling it now.
Meeting ends in 3 minutes.
I'm just trying to worry about Ken getting pissed off because we're all talking about what's
Oh, no, it's
No,
very,
he got through the agenda.
I mean, how it relates to
going
cannabis.
off in a real big.
What I'd like to know is, how does this relate to Howard Stern? Is Howard Stern here? Kidding.
Well, one of the things that it does is that, when we complained about the Department of Health's regulations for the cannabis back in 2009 or 10, when they first started developing the regulations, and we took them to court, the court would always say, well, no, the Department of Health is the experts and we have to defer to them. So even if we had something that was completely, it was an outrageous thing that the Department of Health was doing, it was really hurting patients, they would not overturn it because the courts would not overturn it because they would defer to these agencies. So, I don't know,
that's a very important point, Ken. And I think, and I read that it's, of course, I'm crap at remembering case names, but I read this decision when it came out, and I think basically what it says is, with respect to state level administrative rulemaking and adjudication, any states that have some test that's, I guess, comparable to Chevron is okay for now. They're not really applying it to state level administrative decisions because every state has its own Administrative Proceeding Act. And also, this decision is not retroactive, supposedly. I guess, I don't know, maybe one of them kind of felt uneasy about the turn they were taking. So they said, oh, no, we're not going to make this retroactive. This test only applies going forward. We don't know what that really means in practice.
But those scumbags all said that when they were being tested to be on the court. That's they're all bullshit liars.
I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, you're probably right. Fine. But what does it mean with respect to us at the state level? The answer is, we don't exactly know yet, because each state is basically going to have to kind of chart its own path with respect to its own administrative procedure, provided that they don't exceed procedural due process limitations under the Sixth Amendment. But then again, we don't really know what the Supreme Court's going to do with that either. So there you go. You asked the question. You asked the question. I gave you an answer. What can I say? I don't like it any more than you do.
Tune in next month for more information. If there's a meeting next month, we'll have
I knew I could count on you.
Yeah, I mean, I happen to know a lot about this particular aspect of administrative law and stuff and procedural due process stuff. When you work, if you've ever done public defender work, you kind of have to know it. So, yeah.
Well, I studied it as a master in public administration too, but
Oh, wow, cool. Very, I have an MPP from Rutgers also.
Oh, yeah.
So
mine's from Rutgers. Rutgers
so
too.
I'm like a real like ultra nerd.
Oh,
It was all right. Like, it was an interesting program. I met some
And
fantastic
and
people
and
there.
I stood at a Motel 6 and I listened to CNN, so that's how I know what I know.
I got a bunch of my friends are deadheads, and the
There you
majority of
go.
them are attorneys.
all right. 9 o'clock, everybody.
All right.
Bedtime.
Good night, all.
Thank you so much
Night.
for coming. Very
Okay.
lively
Night.
meeting, enjoyable meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hey, I
Tom.
want to apologize. I thought I was muted before, and I was having a conversation with my boarder here, and I apologize. I thought I was
All right,
muted.
you muted it quickly. That's fine, Scott.
Right.
Don't worry about it.
Good night, all.
All right, good night.
Night.
Thank you.
Gaetano, I got your email address. I'll send that to you. But you can look
Okay,
it up.
thank-
You already have it in your in the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Oh, okay.